I get it on the go, get it on the go. I get it on the go, get it on the go. I get it on the go, get it on the go. I get it.
And I can't hold back this feeling. Oh, what a rush.
Get it on the go, I get it.
And I can't stop fighting this feeling. Mic check, the check gets cut. Yeah, that's the movement.
What's up? We got Malachi Malay and we got a special guest here, Mayor Joe Preston on the Saint T podcast.
Well, thank you, Malachi. It's great. It's been a little while since we've got to talk. So.
Yeah, we did a couple podcasts a while ago, but you know what? I always wanted you to come back, but the issue, COVID came.
Oh, I know, and then nobody could do anything.
Exactly.
And I've been busy. Life has been good. There's a whole lot going on, so we've got a lot to share.
Absolutely. Okay. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start off a little bit differently this time, right? I want to go back to Joe Preston when he was about, like 12 years old. Okay. Now, did you always want to be a politician?
Absolutely not. I was a young lad with a lisp. I was as shy as a guy could be.
Mm-hmm.
But I started to take some speech lessons, and at about 12 years old, I asked for a tape recorder one Christmas so that I could practice speech, and got it, and did. And that turned me into, then I entered a lot of like public speaking contests, or I started to act, and it really brought me out, right? I was always a bit of the class clown, so the comedy side was there.
Okay.
But once I got over the shyness and taught myself to speak without a lisp, I became far less shy. I say it now. Yeah, I've got over my shyness. I'm okay now. And so that's where it came from. I think the politics side of me came from my mom and dad. They made us at dinner talk about current events. And even at a young age, we talked about what was going on in the world. And I think that those types of conversations with my brothers and sisters and mom and dad caused more of the awareness of what's going on in the world, or certainly in the country or in the area from a politics point of view. So I was always interested. It's a sport to me. I love watching other people's politics.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But but part of it came, and you and I think have had this conversation, came through an altruistic thing. I thought I was already a community involved business person in our community and did a lot of things. And somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, why don't you run?"
Oh.
I said, "Ron, have you seen the size of me?" But it turned into, I thought that was another step towards being able to help my community. And it really has turned into that. 20 years later, 2004, I ran the first time federally and was elected as a member of parliament, and really haven't stopped since. I think there's been 6 elections since then in some way. So,
and you haven't lost any of them, right?
No, I've never lost one. I'm not looking forward to that first one. I've seen the faces of people who didn't win in some of my elections. And I've often said, I don't want to look like that.
Okay. So how old were you when you?
I was 49 when I first ran federally.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
49.
Well, 69 this year, 20 years later. So,
okay. Yeah. So when you're running federally, right? Like you're saying, your parents, I guess, more so helped you in that realm, or at least put you in that mentality,
at least made me pay attention to what was going on in our country and our province and in our municipality. And so, federal politics, when I was asked, it was, I think by then I had become a conservative. I don't think I started there perhaps, but most people in business end up there in some way.
Okay.
And they are the ones who came and asked me would I run for them. And so that was a good fit. If it had been someone else, I might have said no and never done it. But
so conservative. So therefore, I'm assuming you grew up in like a Christian, or at least Christian background. Or
yes.
Like that, right?
And still, and have probably even developed that Christianity through my life. So,
so how would you equate or compare Christianity and politics? Could they coexist between the two?
Look, I think of Christianity and religion as being moral, about doing the right things and working hard to help people that need help. Well, I think that can transfer to politics in a big way. Certainly
Correct.
municipal politics. I've found that this is about really helping people who need help
Correct.
in a community. And so, look, I'm not extremely outgoing about my Christianity, but I don't hide it. I believe, and I believe. I traveled the world and got to do a lot of lovely things as a member of parliament, but my mission is in St. Thomas. So I've come home to do that mission, and it works for me.
And we'll get to that a little
Yeah.
bit later. Still touching on the Christianity part, have you ever come to a point where you might have to do something that let's say the government is saying, okay, you know what, this is what we're going with, but yet your faith is somehow being conflicted.
Yeah, I saw that in the federal parliament in our caucus. We often talked about some issues that weren't certainly political, but whether it was in the day same-sex marriage or abortion questions. But
Correct.
I had a great prime minister who said, "Look, you can always vote your conscience, whichever way you want to, or you can abstain from voting on it if it's not a critical political issue, and you want to do that. You can do that.
Oh, you have that
always
option.
we had free votes on things that weren't in the platform, and
Interesting.
things like that were never in the platform.
Okay.
So there's often many people have a fervent background against abortion or something, and they would always want it to be brought back up. And we said, well, this is kind of a settled issue, right? Why don't we not do that to ourselves? But no, okay, but it's your thing. If it came forward as a private member's bill, wasn't the party putting forward the legislation, then we had our choice as to how we would react to that. I mean, I remember one of the first conversations I had with the prime minister was, there's a couple things from my writing that are pretty big, agriculture being one of them. And at the time, we grew most of Canada's tobacco. That wasn't a popular stance across the country, right?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And I said, he said, Joe, that's your writing. If something comes up that you stand tall on it. Right? And so it's really anything. It could be any piece of legislation. He said, but if it's contrary to something we've put in a platform and you ran for us wearing that uniform, then we'd expect you to vote with us on the platform, right? But it's not everything is that cut and dried. So it's you go talk and you say, look, I'm not sure about this one. I think this will affect people in my riding negatively. Whether it's a raise in taxes, we never did raise tobacco taxes while I was there, but that might have been a decision I would have had to say, wait, that's not probably what we should do.
Yeah.
Well, instead, we helped a number of people get out of the tobacco business, which I thought was a great move, and so voted for all of that. So,
Interesting. I never realized you could actually, you don't have to. I guess
you don't have to wear the uniform every day,
Correct,
right?
correct.
And Wednesday mornings at caucus, when you're just in there with just your fellow members of parliament from your party,
Yeah.
you have open, good conversations. But when that door opens and you go back out, you better know how you're going and which way the party is going. It is the parliamentary democracy that is Canada, right? Sends good people from ridings to Ottawa. And the party that sends the most of them gets to pick the prime minister. So I mean, too many people compare us to the United States model, where
completely
you
different.
vote for the president. We don't. I knocked on many doors in my time with Prime Minister Harper as the prime minister, and they said, "Well, we like you, Joe, but we don't really like your boss."
Yeah.
I said, well, that's fantastic. If you're not in Calgary West, you don't get to vote for him. You have to vote for Joe Preston. If you want to send strong people to help Stephen Harper be a better prime minister, then you get to pick the people in your riding and send them on to do that, right?
And so you ran federally for how long?
4 times: 2004,
4 times.
2006, 2008, and 2000. I left in 15, so 2010 or late in 2010.
Okay, so from 2015 until 2018, there was a break.
Because I went back to I'll say I retired from politics to try and save my marriage. I went back to my businesses to try and make sure that part of my life was still going well.
Yeah.
And I retired.
Okay. Okay.
And it just about killed me.
Explain.
Doing nothing. Right?
Doing nothing.
Trying to retire, right? So I had to find, well, what does that mean now? Well, what's my next life after Parliament? I drastically missed being in Parliament. It was a great place to be and a great job to have. And then about 150 of my closest friends came and said, you better run for mayor. Right. And as I said, I've always been reasonably community aware, and I recognized, as you did at the same time, there was some things that needed to happen. And I wasn't happy with the way the city was going. I didn't want to have to take it on. And because I'd seen how the council there had worked not with itself very well.
Yeah.
I said, look, I can do this. All right, I will. Right. And I really, honestly, I think I probably even shared with you during that first campaign, I'm only doing this for one term. That's a 4-year term. That'll be enough.
I remember you saying that, yeah. But it's the second term now.
Well, I'm in the second term now, 2 years into it. And honestly, Stephanie and I continue to talk about what's the third term look like, because she says, I've never seen you happier, and you wake up every morning with new accomplishments in our city and a smile on your face. So carry on.
Interesting. Okay, so the first run with federal, you retired because you were disassociated from your relationship, your marriage.
Right. In 2015, when I left Parliament, I came back. I did end up getting divorced.
Correct.
And since then, I've met Stephanie and married again last year.
So you come back, you're in politics again, and it's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I'll tell you the comparison.
Yes.
I loved some of the great work I got to do federally in the Parliament. It was really incredible to be able to make the laws of this country and make fiscal budget decisions that were the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But all of the work in Parliament, I always describe it this way: it's glacial. You know it's moving, but you can't see it moving. It takes that long to do great work. And so 12 years in Parliament was like an incredible piece. But I'll tell you, as the mayor of a community of our size with what's going on, I wake up in the morning, check my phone, and I can solve 4 or 5 people's problems before noon. It is an immediate, hands-on type of politics.
Correct.
Especially with the council that we have. It's just, they've been universally good, right? They've accepted the strategic planning of what growing a city of our size takes, and been almost universal on every vote. There's nothing we've ever reconsidered in the 5 or 6 years I've been mayor.
So far, there's what, 8 council
8
members,
councillors, right? I
Including
think we
yourself.
could do it 9 with me.
Correct.
I'm only 1 vote at that council, but I think we could do with 1 or 2 less. I don't think it needs to be as big as it is, but there was plenty of time in St. Thomas where there did need to be more.
Right. Now explain to people how that works, because a lot of the times individuals assume that you get the final say.
No, I mean, I've taken it upon myself to vote on every issue we've had, so that because I want to show that I am 1 vote.
Okay.
But I'm 1 vote.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if it was 4-4, my vote would be the deciding vote. I don't remember that happening in the 5 years.
Correct. Correct.
Almost. And the great councillors we currently have, we all have a pretty good idea that once it's voted on, win or lose, what side you were on, it's unanimous. We leave that room as if it's 9-0. It was unanimous. We voted it in. That's going to be what the bylaw is going to say, and we're doing it.
Okay.
All right.
So just to give a visual of it, right? Let's say hypothetically there's X amount of financial funding available.
Yep.
You guys have to determine where this money is going to.
Yes.
Something pops up and says, okay, you know what? We're gonna give this money we're gonna allocate this money to the homeless, and we're gonna vote on it. So is it just hands up? Who's in favor, just like that?
We just exactly had that. Because really not so much in our budget. We had set aside some more money for helping with affordable housing and homelessness. But Eastwood Cooperative, Eastwood Housing in St. Thomas came to us and said, we're wanting to build an 82-unit affordable housing building.
Okay.
And we'd like something from the city. We'd like you to help us with it. And we said, yep, That'd be great. What are you looking for? And we settled on giving them $3 million toward a little over $10 million project.
Okay.
And we get to use some of those units to help people off our lists, right? But because we're making the contribution. But here we were sitting at council trying to suggest that we were going to spend off budget $3 million towards housing.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a council that's done nothing but say yes and good things about housing.
Mm-hmm.
However, $3 million is if it was added to the budget that we passed, would have added about $600,000 is 1 point in taxes.
Okay.
So $3 million would be about 5 points in taxes. Taxes would have been, instead of 2.95, would have been
the way up.
8.5.
Yeah.
Right. Which some communities around us certainly have set tax rates that high.
Okay.
But we've been also trying to, with the smart growth we're doing in our city, with the growth we're seeing in our community, continue to set aside some finances so that when we run into something that is worth doing, like perhaps industrial land, so that we can attract a really large employer,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We have the money to do it. We're not
mm-hmm.
stretched and can't say we can't do it,
mm-hmm.
right? We've made some really good headway on the areas that we looked for. We did a strategic plan that was all about finding jobs, finding housing,
mm-hmm.
including the servicing that communities need, the boring stuff, the water and the sewers and the roads and
mm-hmm.
stuff, and parks. And we've all agreed that kind of in that order, we have to think smart. We've seen, look, you came from some other places too, as I did. I saw Mississauga grow and not do it smart. I saw Brampton grow and it not do it smart.
Correct.
So the thoughts when I decided to run back in 2018 was, we're growing. There's a lot of people coming to our community every day, every month, every year.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, about 1,000 people a year were coming to St. Thomas, choosing St. Thomas to be their hometown. We said, well, we got to do this smart. We can't just let this happen.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to end up with traffic problems or not enough jobs for people, and certainly not enough housing for people. So we plan to do it.
Correct. Now, why do you think St. Thomas is growing that fast? Because before, how many people on the street, they started blaming me, man. That was like, before you Torontonian came here, everything was good.
Yeah, well, we still get a bit of that, but not you personally, just in general.
Yeah.
Look,
so why is it going so fast?
Because people want to be here. And I've had the same conversation with many people who've been in St. Thomas their whole life and say, Mayor, what are you doing? You're expanding our community at a time when I liked my sleepy old village, right?
Correct.
And I said, I can't stop people who want to be in St. Thomas. They're just coming, and some of them make the wrong turn and end up there, okay? Right? But most choose to come there. And I said, what would you have me do? Put up a wall, a fence? How do we stop people from picking St. Thomas if that's where they want to go? And so how about we welcome them and we plan for that growth? We called it smart growth for 5 years now. It's how do we get them to come here, settle nicely, have housing, have jobs, right? And do it smartly so that we're not overloading what would be hard to do in a small community.
Correct.
So now, we did it the other way.
Okay. No, definitely for sure. The city's growing. And initially I was like, man, this is growing fast. And I don't know if the city's equipped, but, caught on very quick. And you guys actually, like you're saying, the team you guys have are doing an amazing job. One thing I did notice is there's a large amount of diversity coming into St. Thomas, right?
Clearly.
And initially, I believe, but maybe not even 5-7 years ago, it was 97% Caucasian. Now, easily, even maybe more,
maybe
right?
more.
Probably 1.5 indigenous, and then the other, 1.5 just everybody else, right? Now, it's the diversities, from whether it be Africa, whether it be India, whether
it's worldwide. We've got different communities from around the world, and some very valuable ones to our community. And really showed, I think, the positive side of that diversity really showed during COVID. Right? There was an awful lot of the community groups, the diversified community groups, that went the extra mile and it really helped people in need during COVID. And so now it's a given.
Yeah.
This is the new face of what St. Thomas is, or the new face of workplaces in St. Thomas, the new faces of our police force. The new it's what we it's who we wanted to become without it becoming a problem.
Okay.
We got there by saying all are welcome and weren't selective. We just said, you want to come to St. Thomas? Then great. We have a great Muslim community now. We have a great Indian population now who do a lot of great things in our community. We have a Filipino community now that, right? As a mayor, I get invited to all this stuff, and most of it's food related. So it's right, but it's
okay. No, because I get hands-on of who comes into the city in terms of, the barbershop. Like you could see, you could see a large, like I'm talking about hundreds upon hundreds of new clients from India and Pakistan, and a lot of students going to Fanshawe College. And I sit there and ask them,
especially heavy industrial or international use of our community college.
Correct.
Very much so.
Fanshawe is definitely being recognized a lot more, 10 times more than it was, a decade ago, right? Internationally.
And they're cognizant of that. And they recognize now they need to be as diversified, and they need to offer what the community needs.
Correct.
I mean, I tell a story of my time before federal politics, where I was the chair of the Youth Employment Counseling Center.
Okay.
And going to the president of Fanshawe and saying, I was the chair of the Chamber of Commerce, I think, at the time. How many plumbers next year are we turning out? He said, 18. I said, you said that really quick. How did you know? He said, that's how many chairs there is in the classroom. I said, is that really how we select what we need in our community, or the types of skills training we need? And he said, well, it is right now, but I really would like it to get to be. And now we've got there. We've got to the point where, what do we need to train? What skills do we really have to have in our community? And is Fanshawe capable of training? And if not, can the London campus help us? And we're obviously opening the world's largest battery plant, and that will take a number of specialized technicians.
Correct.
Fanshawe has joined right in, has even visited Germany already, and said, what do we have to do? What's the training protocol for this? How do we make this work? I think we're good. By the time we have to hire those people on, Fanshawe will be well up to speed and doing their job. Westerns also jumped in to do the same thing.
Now, I see the younger generation, right? The younger generation have welcomed the new face of St. Thomas.
Yes.
It's very clear.
Very
they
much
actually
so.
love it, right? I'm not too sure, or I don't really know what the older generation is saying, because they were here for decades upon decades upon decades, where St. Thomas only looked one way. So now,
many of them grew up in a household that wasn't diversified, and their parents may not have been tolerant of that.
Correct, because
not,
you're
not
around
negatively.
No, I understand, because you're around in that timeline, right? So, what's your generation saying? About
as I said, they're more vocal about the change to the community, and sometimes you have to read what that might mean.
Correct.
Right? Some of it's there's more cars in the street, and I got to wait twice till I can get through a left turn light. Okay, that's the biggest problem you got. Go visit Toronto. But some of it is also about
the infrastructure,
colors of skin, and other things, and so. They grew up in households that have now learned how to be far more tolerant, and that it is a good thing in our community to have that type of diversity, even if it's just by now new choices of restaurants or new choices of purchasing ability in some of our stores. For the most part, it's a successful thing. Is there still people who are not? Yeah.
Smell a cat, baby. Representing our city, aka Rail City. Come on. I love my city. I grab the mic when I speak, cause I rep my city. I'm down for the long run, cause I bleed my city. It's about time you respect my city. In 010, I lost my city. 1 year later, Ford left my city. It's painful cause it crushed my city. 1,100 jobs left my city. We're gonna see another. We're gonna get another. We're gonna see another. We're gonna get another. for the do was hard times, unemployed with nothing to do. I praise God for them times. We're making it through. The baseline for this theme goes boom. We're gonna see another. We're gonna get another. We're gonna see another. If love is a game, then I wanna play. Come on, love is a love your city. Then I need a job. If love had a thought, St. Thomas, then I'm gonna pay. If love is a child, number one city, baby. I'm willing to take till I get to you. I'm coming home, baby. Yeah, till I get to you. I'm coming home, baby. St. Thomas, till I get to you. Embrace your own. Come on. Yeah. Rest in peace, Jumbo. You died for the cause. Pause. That's the real definition of boss. Pause. This ain't you. I thought you knew. Homo, the first legalized medical school. 26 railways. They're passing it through. Pinning for parking while the work's something to do. Rachel McAdams, yes, she's born and raised. Hashtag St. Thomas Pride Malachi says. We're gonna see another. We're gonna get another. We're gonna see another. If love is a game, then I wanna play. If love is a goal, then I'm in the job. If love has a cause, then I'm gonna play. If love is a child, I'm willing to take till I get to you. I'm coming home, baby. Come on. Till I get to you. Come on. Till I get to you. I'm coming home, baby. I'm coming home to you, St. Thomas, baby. Yeah. Till I get to you. Come on, we're gonna see another. St. Thomas, baby, we're gonna get another. Love my city, we're gonna see another. We're gonna get another. RC, baby, we're gonna see another. AKA, we're gonna get Rail City. Hashtag St. Thomas, proud. Get another. That's how it is, baby. And we out.